Ash. Great to have you on the show. So what about this seasonal bullish sentiment this month? Is it for April Fools or is it real?
Well, thanks for having me. I think it's, generally speaking, like you mentioned, obviously April has, for the past 10 years has been usually, an indicator of like just some price moves in general. I think as we're looking also at the stock market, there's quite a rally happening around just tech altogether. I think there's quite a move in flocking towards just more quality. Bitcoin is still like, the highest quality like digital asset in the space. With the expectation that it looks like the Fed are going to be easing one way or the other, especially over the events that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. I think more price action is expected to continue moving on over the course of like this month. But it's very hard to tell. We'll see where it goes like past April. But right now, I'm still very bullish on sort of the trends for BTC over the next couple of months.
Yeah, so Coinbase analysts were saying BTC as a store of value is increasingly uncorrelated with traditional markets, but the Fed backing off quantitative tightening, does that lift all boats? What are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, it definitely affects the sentiment in general. As a derivatives technology provider for ourselves, we're seeing a lot of open interest coming in on call options for Bitcoin altogether. There's quite a pickup from institutional in terms of flow. And I think that's just all majorly driven by an expectation that one way or the other, most of the tightening has been priced in. And especially now that April marks basically an exact year away from the next halving, I think a lot of just interest is going to continue moving on as we go into like the mid of the year. I expect further rallying to start touching maybe around like 30K before the end of this month. Post that, it's going to be really just up to the market. So it's hard to tell like where things are going to go. But right now, I think we're looking at least another couple to 3 weeks of rallying in terms of pricing.
Oh, interesting. So you see the support and resistance lines around, I don't know where your bottom is, but your top is around 30,000. What is going to be driving this?
Like I said, I think it's, are you talking about like just driving the backward movement or just
driving the bullish sentiment out there?
So it's, I think, just given the past 3 months and like how the year has been overall, like the events like with SVB, the events with the current banking partners that just have been very much scary for the vast majority. And a lot of people were just wondering where the Fed is going to land on whether they're going to continuing on their plan in terms of like super tightening, or there might be sort of an easing off. And I think the sentiment right now is that this is just an expectation that things are going to be easing a little bit more over the next couple of months, so to speak. And overall, Bitcoin just still remains like a quality digital asset for a lot of institutional flow in general. It is the most familiar, and for those who are looking to diversify, especially post what happened with the traditional banking sector over the past couple of weeks, Bitcoin still remains a very good option. And I think that's kind of what's driving some of these pricing rallies that we're looking at. In addition to be quite fair, it's very hard to drop in fundamentals on how Bitcoin moves altogether. But also retail flow has still been very steady and strong over the past month.
What can you say about that institutional and retail flow? Because over the past few weeks, we've been seeing volumes really low, so that if there is a big sell order or buy order, it really moves the markets. I think, generally speaking, the vast majority of Bitcoin holders have been holding for quite the number of years. A lot of desensitization in terms of like market conditions. People are not really, in terms of retail, are not super spooked anymore. They've seen it all. And those who still remain in the ecosystem are pretty much in it for quite the long run. And I think that has proven for a lot of institutional flow that like this is an asset obviously that is here to stay for quite some time. And now with stock rallying, I don't think the decoupling has happened. With stocks being just moving forward upwards, I see Bitcoin also moving upwards as just another form of investment altogether for the easing of deploying funds from institutional flow like is now just apparent, and Bitcoin is just like feeling some of that.
All right, Ash, we'll leave it there. But I always like to ask at the beginning of the year what you think Bitcoin will be at the end of the year.
So, yeah, I'll just throw a number really, because honestly, it's almost hard for anyone to predict what it's going to be. But I think we're probably looking, I'd say probably near like the all-time highs for the prior like bullish run. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin touches 60K before the end of this year.
Oh, wow. Very bullish, Ash. Thanks so much for joining us. That was Kemet Trading CEO Ash Ashmawy.